About a little over a year ago, there was a plane crash in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. And as a result of that crash, there were only 5 survivors, a mother and her 4 children. The oldest child being 14, the second oldest being 9, the third oldest was only 4 years old, and the youngest was 11 months. Now, after the crash, the mother's injuries were pretty severe. So after only 4 days, she ended up passing away in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, leaving her 4 children to fend for themselves. Now, these 4 children, they weren't just ordinary children, but they were related to the indigenous people of the Amazon rainforest, meaning that as they grew up, their relatives taught them how to survive in those type of conditions. They taught them how to scavenge for food. They taught them where to hide. They taught them who and what to avoid. Their relatives, they prepared them for the wilderness. But see, this plane did not crash in just any part of the Amazon rainforest. It crashed in the most thickest and dangerous part of the Amazon, meaning that the chances of these kids surviving throughout the night, maybe a couple days in the rainforest, even a week, was very slim. It was 4 children being led by a 13-year-old to survive and navigate through the Amazon rainforest. And do you want to know what's so impressive about this story? Is that not only did the kids survive a night in the rainforest, a couple days, a couple weeks, but these children went 40 days. They went 40 days in the Amazon rainforest, and they lived to tell the tale. See, they spent so much time in that wilderness that they learned to make a living out of it. See, they spent so much time in the wilderness that they learned to live off of it. They learned to live off the food. They learned to live off the environment. They learned to live off of the conditions of the Amazon rainforest. There are many of us who have strayed away from God, and we have found ourselves getting lost in the middle of the wilderness. Our wilderness of sin, of lust, addictions, worldly temptations. And we have been lost in that wilderness for so long that we learned to live off of it. We grew comfortable in our wilderness. We were no longer scared. We were no longer afraid of the wilderness and what the wilderness brings. And that is a dangerous place to be when living for God. There are 4 kids who are lost in the Amazon rainforest. Even though they were able to survive 40 days in the Amazon rainforest, the longer that they stayed in the wilderness, their chances of dying had increased higher and higher. See, the government officials even decided that they were going to send out their army to go look for these children. But due to the thickness of the forest and the children constantly moving, constantly going deeper and deeper in the forest, constantly hiding, it made it close to impossible to track them down. See, there are many of us who have been in our wilderness of sin for so long that we know the wilderness like the back of our hands. We know how far to go, how far not to go. We know where to step and where not to step. We know how much drugs to take before we reach a point of overdosing. We know how much pornography to watch within the day before our bodies get tired, before it becomes too much. We know how much we're willing to take before we explode and curse somebody out. We know how much to steal from stores before it becomes too suspicious and we end up getting caught. We've been living in our wilderness of sin for so long that we know the ins and outs. And the reason why God has not taken you out of your wilderness is because you take it upon yourself to navigate through your wilderness of sin, trying to find your own way out. So you keep on moving and moving and moving, only to go deeper and deeper in your wilderness of sin, until eventually you find yourself in the most thickest and dangerous part of the wilderness. You find yourself in a place of sin where you feel as if there is no going back. There is no one who can reach you now. There's no one who can save you. You're gonna die here. You're gonna die in your sin. You're gonna die in this part of the wilderness. You've gone too far. Nobody can reach you. But I've come here to tell you today that it does not matter how long you've spent in your wilderness of sin. It doesn't matter how lost you think you are. It doesn't even matter what part of your wilderness of sin you find yourself in. The God that we serve will always make a way, even in the wilderness, even in your wilderness. Whatever that wilderness of sin looks like, whether it's pornography, whether it's fornication, whether it's the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, pride of life. Maybe it's ego. Maybe it's arrogance. Maybe it's a lack of compassion or hatred. Whatever your wilderness looks like today, our God, the one true living God, will make a way of escape. He's always making a way. Even when you think that there is no way, even when you think all hope is lost, even when your feet are tired of walking throughout your wilderness, our God is making a way. And if you don't believe me, then I want you to read Isaiah chapter 49, verses 19 through 21, where it says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. The wild animals honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland to give drink to my people, my chosen, the people I formed for myself, that they may proclaim my praise. I am making a way in your wilderness. The reason why some of us still find ourselves in our wilderness of sin is because even in all of our trying and failing, we still believe that we have the answer. That in ourselves, we hold the key to getting out of our own wilderness, to overcoming our own sin, to overcoming our own addictions. So we continue to navigate through our wilderness of sin, only to find ourselves becoming more and more lost. And that is the reason why it's so hard for you to have an encounter with God in your wilderness, because you keep moving from one location to the next, falling deeper and deeper into your sin, falling deeper and deeper into the wilderness. But throughout scripture, it gives you one simple command. And that one simple command can be summed up into 2 words. And those 2 words are be still. For as it says in Exodus chapter 14, verse 14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And right here in Psalms 46, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Or even here in Psalms 37, verse 7, be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the man who carries out evil devices. Be still and wait on the Lord. All that God requires us to do is to be still. Be still and know that he is God and that he will deliver you out of your wilderness of sin. Whether it's pornography, drugs, alcoholism, abuse, whatever it may be, God will deliver you. But you must first be still. When God commands us to be still, that is a form of surrender. You are letting God know that no matter what, here is where I'll remain. In you, oh God, is where I'll remain. I will be still. To be still means that, God, I'm no longer chasing after the desires of my flesh. I'm no longer chasing after temptation, gratification, fornication, pornography. I'm remaining right here, God. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not chasing after anything that doesn't lead me to you. Being still means that you're surrendering your fight. God, I'm no longer fighting the lust of the flesh. I'm no longer fighting my demons, my addictions, my pride, my ego. I'm no longer fighting, God. I give up my fight and I will be still. In you will I remain, oh God. We remain still, not just out of obedience to God, but out of knowledge of who God is. God, I will be still and know that you are my God. You are my provider. You are my deliverance. You are my healer. You are the hope of my salvation. You are my all in all. In you alone will I trust, because I know that you are God. Those 4 children who were lost in the rainforest, the reason that they were found is because they stopped moving. They stopped hiding from the ones that were searching for them, the ones that were pursuing after them, and they remained still. If you find yourself in your wilderness of sin today, stop hiding from God because you're too ashamed, you're afraid, you're too lost. Stop hiding from God. Stop moving. Stop trying to navigate your wilderness of sin and hope that you can one day, through your own will and through your own strength and through your own abilities and limitations, get yourself out of your wilderness of sin on your own. Because guess what? You never will. And the longer that you stay in your wilderness of sin, the chances of you dying in your wilderness of sin go up drastically. Your way out of your wilderness of sin is not through your will, through your strength, through your might, through your endurance. The way out of your wilderness of sin, the wilderness of pornography, drug addictions, lust, temptation, anger, hatred, the only way out of that is surrender. Surrendering to the fact that you cannot make it on your own. You cannot do this without God. You're not strong enough on your own. You don't have the capabilities. You don't have the wisdom. You don't have the knowledge. And that's okay. But when you get a hold of God, when you be still and surrender that all to God, then you have all you need. You have found your way out of the wilderness. The word says that God is making a way even in the wilderness, even in your wilderness. But you first need to be still. Be still and know that He is God.